Today we will be discussing about tuning fork tests. History of tuning fork. John Shore, a British musician, invented the tuning fork in 1711. Ernst Heinrich Weber was a German physician who, along with his physicist brother Wilhelm, published his studies in 1825. He was a professor of physiology and anatomy. He is considered a founder of experimental psychology. The Weber test is named after him. Heinrich Adolf Rini and D. Schwabach of Berlin in 1885 provided the information on the tuning fork tests. These tests provided one of the most valuable methods for differentiating between conductive and sensorineural hearing loss. Friedrich Bezold was the first to use terms positive and negative to describe the results of Rini's test. Now about tuning fork. The tuning fork has two prongs, soldier, stem and base. So the two prongs are joined at the soldier and there is a stem for holding and a base or foot plate. The common type of tuning fork is Hartmann and Gardiner type of tuning fork. The tuning fork is commonly available in various frequencies like 128, 256, 512 and 1024 Hz. A set of tuning fork includes 256, 512 and 1024 Hz. Uses of the tuning fork is to detect the type of hearing loss, to make an approximate estimate of the degree of hearing loss. So why is the 512 Hz tuning fork commonly used for hearing assessment test? It is because the 512 Hz is present in the mid-speech frequency range. Overtones are minimal with this. Sound is more auditory than tactile in nature, and tone decay is optimal. Why are other Hz tuning fork not the first choice for hearing assessment tests? Because forks of lower frequencies produce sense of bone vibration or tactile sensation, which can be confused by patient for sensation of hearing. The tuning fork of higher frequencies have a shorter decay time, which hampers during examination process. How is the tuning fork activated? To activate, the tuning fork is struck at the junction of upper 1/3 and lower 2/3 of the prongs, producing single tone of labeled Hz. If it is struck hardly or haphazardly, overtones are generated, which acts in falsifying the results. What is decay time for a tuning fork? Decay time of tuning fork is the time for which the tuning fork remains activated. That is the time for which it keeps producing its peculiar sound. Decay time is shorter for tuning fork with higher frequency. So now coming into different tuning fork tests. Rini test. In this test, air conduction of the ear is compared with its bone conduction. The different methods of doing Rini's test are threshold or duration comparison technique and loudness comparison technique. So coming to the threshold duration comparison technique, vibrating tuning fork is kept on mastoid of patient. Patient signals when sound ceases to be heard. Then move the vibrating tuning fork over opening of ear canal 2.5 cm away and axis parallel to it. Patient will indicate whether the sound is heard. Loudness comparison method. Vibrating tuning fork is kept on the mastoid of patient. Patient signals if sound is heard. Then move the vibrating tuning fork immediately over opening of ear canal. If sound is heard, then the patient is asked which sound was louder. So this is how you do the loudness comparison test in Rini's. Rini test is called positive when air conduction is longer or louder than bone conduction. It is seen in normal person or with those with sensorineural hearing loss. Negative Rini, in which the bone conduction is more than air conduction, is seen in conductive hearing loss. A negative Rini test indicates a minimum air-bone gap of 15 to 20 decibel. So here we describe three cases. In the first one, Rini's test is negative for 256 Hz, whereas positive for 512 and 1024 Hz. So in this case, the approximate hearing loss would be 20 to 30 decibel. In second case, Rini is negative for 256 and 512 Hz, whereas positive for 1024. So the hearing loss would be approximately 30 to 45 decibel. In third case, Rini is negative for all three frequencies. So the hearing loss would be 45 to 60 decibel. False negative Rini. This is seen in severe unilateral sensorineural hearing loss. Patient does not perceive any sound of tuning fork by air conduction, but responds to bone conduction testing. This response of bone conduction in reality is coming from the opposite ear because of transcranial transmission of sound. In such cases, correct diagnosis can be made by masking the non-test ear with Baronese noise box while testing for bone conduction. Weber test will further help as it gets lateralized to the better ear. Weber test. This is a very sensitive test, and even 5 decibel differences in two ears hearing level will be indicated by this test. In this test, a vibrating tuning fork is placed in the middle of the forehead or the vertex, and the patient is asked in which ear the sound is heard. So this is how you do Weber's test. Normally, it is heard equally in both ears. It is lateralized to the worse ear in conductive deafness and to the better ear in sensorineural deafness. In Weber test, sound travels directly to the cochlea via bone. Lateralization of sound in Weber test with a tuning fork of 512 Hz implies a conductive hearing loss of 15 to 25 decibel in ipsilateral ear, or a sensorineural hearing loss in contralateral ear. Absolute bone conduction test. Bone conduction is a measure of cochlear function. In absolute bone conduction test, patient's bone conduction is compared with that of examiner, presuming that the examiner has normal hearing. External auditory meatus of patient is occluded by pressing the tragus inwards to prevent ambient noise entering through air conduction route. A buzzing tuning fork is then placed on mastoid process. When the patient no longer hears any sound, the same tuning fork is quickly shifted to the examiner's mastoid of the same ear to compare, while closing the external auditory canal with tragus. In case of conductive hearing loss, the patient and the examiner hear the fork for the same duration of time, whereas in sensorineural hearing loss, the patient hears the fork for a shortened duration than the examiner. Schwabach's test. Here again, bone conduction of patient is compared with that of the normal hearing person or examiner, but meatus is not occluded. It has the same significance as absolute bone conduction test. Schwabach is reduced in sensorineural deafness. Schwabach is lengthened in conductive deafness. Bing test. It is a test of bone conduction and examines the effect of occlusion of ear canal on the hearing. A vibrating tuning fork is placed on the mastoid, while the examiner alternately closes and opens the ear canal by pressing on the tragus inwards. A normal person or one with sensorineural hearing loss hears louder when the ear canal is occluded and softer when the canal is open, which is being positive. A patient with conductive hearing loss will appreciate no change, that is being negative. The other test is Gillies test. It is also a test of bone conduction and examines the effect of increased air pressure in ear canal on the hearing, especially due to ossicular chain and Stapes disease. Normally, when air pressure is increased in the ear canal by Sigel's speculum, it pushes the tympanic membrane and ossicles inward, raises the intralabyrinthine pressure and causes immobility of basilar membrane and decreases hearing. But no change in hearing is observed when ossicular chain is fixed or disconnected. Gillies test is performed by placing a vibrating fork on the mastoid, while changes in air pressure in the ear canal are brought about by Sigel's speculum. Gillies test is positive in normal persons and in those with sensorineural hearing loss. It is negative when ossicular chain is fixed or disconnected. It was a popular test to find out Stapes fixation in otosclerosis, but has now been superseded by tympanometry. So at last, the interpretation of all these tests. So in case of Rinne's test, conductive hearing loss, the Rinne is negative, sensorineural Rinne is positive. Weber, in conductive, it is lateralized to poorer ear, whereas in sensorineural hearing loss, it is lateralized to better ear. Absolute bone conduction test, conductive hearing loss, it is same as examiner, whereas sensorineural hearing loss, it is reduced. Schwabach test is lengthened in conductive hearing loss, whereas shortened in sensorineural hearing loss. Bing test is negative in conductive hearing loss, whereas positive in sensorineural hearing loss. Gillies test is negative, especially for otosclerosis, and positive in sensorineural hearing loss. Thank you.